Right now, as you're watching this video, there is an uncrewed robotic spacecraft circling Earth at 28,000 kilometers per hour. No one outside of Beijing knows exactly what it's doing up there. No one knows what it's carrying. No one knows when it's coming back. And China just smiles and says it's for the peaceful use of space. Meet Shenlong, the Divine Dragon, China's most secretive spacecraft. A machine that has already completed 4 orbital missions, spent nearly a combined 800 days in space, released mysterious objects into orbit, performed spy-level maneuvering that had U.S. Space Command reaching for its coffee mug at 3 a.m. and still, somehow, most people on Earth have no idea it even exists. But today, I'm changing that. Buckle up, because this isn't just a story about a spacecraft. This is a story about dragons, arms races, mythology, and the very real possibility that the next great battlefield is directly above your head. The name, the myth, the dragon. Let's start with the name, because it tells you everything. Shenlong translates from Mandarin as divine dragon. In ancient Chinese mythology, the Shenlong wasn't just any dragon. This was not your European fire-breathing cave dweller, hoarding gold. The Shenlong was the master of weather and storms. A celestial dragon that could call down rain, summon thunder, and quite literally reshape the world below it. Think about that choice of name for a second. China didn't name their secret military spacecraft after a scientist, a constellation, or a number. They named it after a god who controls the skies from above. That's not branding. That's a statement. Now, the Shenlong program, officially code-named Project 863 to 706, traces its roots back to China's National High-Tech Research and Development Program from the 1980s. But the real push came in the early 2000s, when China looked at what America was doing and said, we need one of those. One of those being a reusable, unmanned orbital spaceplane, a spacecraft that could launch like a rocket, operate in space for months, change its orbit at will, and glide back to Earth like a plane. Land, reload, and go again. The world got its first glimpse of Shenlong in December 2007 through leaked photographs showing a small, sleek vehicle tucked under the wing of a Xian H-6 bomber. Those early images revealed a delta-wing craft, black heat-shielding tiles on its belly, the telltale sign of a reusable re-entry vehicle, and 3 high-expansion engines at the back. It looked like someone had shrunk the space shuttle, classified it, and given it to the People's Liberation Army. What has it actually done? The mission history. Here's where it gets genuinely wild. Mission 1, September 2020. Shenlong makes its first orbital flight. Duration, 2 days. Not long, right? Think of it like a shakedown cruise. Get the plane to orbit. Make sure it doesn't explode. Bring it home. It also released a small satellite that demonstrated transmission broadcast capabilities. China's official statement on this mission was, the technology would pave the way for more convenient and affordable round-trip methods for the peaceful use of space. Mission 2, May 2023. This is where Shenlong showed its real potential. It stayed in orbit for 276 days, which is 9 months. 9 months. Quietly circling the planet, doing something during this mission. It again deployed a small satellite, this one with its own independent propulsive capabilities, meaning it could move around on its own. A satellite deploying a satellite, in secret, for 9 months, like a mother giving birth in space. Mission 3, December 2023. This one caused the most noise. Within 4 days of launch, space tracking organizations reported that Shenlong appeared to have released 6 objects into Earth's orbit immediately designated Object A through F. Some of them appeared to be transmitting signals. Amateur satellite trackers were picking up emissions. The internet went completely feral. The U.S. military was watching closely. China said nothing. It landed in September 2024 after 268 days. Chinese state media called it a complete success. Mission 4, February 2025. Shenlong launched again on February 6, 2025. 4th mission. As of right now, it is still up there. No announced objectives. No timeline for return. Just circling. The only thing China has said is that it will pave the way for more convenient and affordable round-trip methods for the peaceful use of space in the future. The X-37B connection, the Space Cold War. To understand why Shenlong exists, you need to understand one thing. China built it because of America. Meet the X-37B, the U.S. Space Force's reusable robotic spaceplane. Built by Boeing, operated in complete secrecy, has been flying classified missions since 2010. Its sixth mission alone lasted 908 days, which is 2.5 years in orbit. When it came down, nobody was told in advance. It just reappeared. From China's perspective, the X-37B is terrifying. Chinese researchers from the Space Engineering University literally published a paper calling the X-37B a space killer. They argued it could be used as a component of America's prompt global strike system, essentially a way to rapidly deploy weapons or disable satellites from orbit. Washington says, "Relax, it's just a technology testbed." Beijing says, "That's exactly what you'd say if it was a weapon." So what did China do? China built their own version and said the exact same thing about it. "Relax, it's for the peaceful use of space." And now America says, "That's exactly what you'd say if it was a weapon." We are living in a geopolitical comedy sketch, and nobody is laughing. Here's what makes Shenlong distinctly different from the X-37B. While America's X-37B has generally not been observed approaching or rendezvousing with other spacecraft, Shenlong has, multiple times. It has maneuvered near other objects in orbit. It has deployed payloads and then circled back to interact with them. Analysts call this rendezvous and proximity operations, also known as RPO. And here's the thing. RPO technology is genuinely dual use. It can be used for incredibly useful things: servicing and repairing satellites, clearing orbital debris, refueling spacecraft. These are legitimate, valuable capabilities that the whole world needs. But the exact same technology with different software could also be used to inspect adversary satellites, interfere with their operations, or, in theory, grab them, disable them. The technology doesn't care what you intend to do with it. It just works. One analyst put it simply, if a nation seeks space superiority, mastering rendezvous and proximity operations is essential. Neither side is being fully honest. Both sides are scared. The bigger picture, why this matters. Here's the thing that should genuinely make you stop and think. We live in a world that runs on satellites. Your phone's GPS, the financial transaction you made this morning, weather forecasting, the timing signals that keep power grids synchronized, military communications, emergency response. Almost everything we take for granted is, at some point, bouncing off something in orbit. And right now, according to analysts, global space defense spending just hit $73 billion last year. Every major spacefaring nation is building, testing, or deploying tools designed to operate in and potentially deny others access to orbital space. Shenlong represents something bigger than just one spacecraft. It represents China's declaration that they intend to be a full-spectrum space power, not just launching satellites, not just sending humans to the moon, but developing the ability to operate flexibly in orbit, to maneuver, to deploy, to retrieve, and yes, potentially to act in ways that conventional satellites simply cannot. The fact that we know so little about Shenlong is itself the point. The same thing that makes the X-37B threatening to China is the same thing that makes Shenlong threatening to the United States. The closed payload bay, the autonomous maneuvering, the months in orbit, the silence. Both sides are, some ironically, using the same playbook. What comes next? The Divine Dragon's future. So where does all of this go? Shenlong, for all its mystery, is explicitly described by analysts as an experimental testbed, not an operational weapon system. Each mission builds knowledge, engineering data, tactics, techniques. The lessons learned from 4 missions feed the design of whatever comes next. And something is definitely coming next. In November 2024, at China's biggest aerospace show, a new spacecraft was unveiled. It's called the Halong Good Dragon. Developed by Chengdu Aircraft Design Institute, it looks remarkably similar to Shenlong and is designed as a cargo shuttle for China's Tiangong space station. 2 dragons now, one divine, one good, both suspiciously similar to the classified American spaceplane. China has also announced plans for a fully reusable two-stage to orbit space transportation system, essentially a Chinese version of what SpaceX is building with Starship, but with a classified military edge. The direction is clear. China is not going to cede space. Not low Earth orbit, not the moon, not the orbital high ground. Security experts argue convincingly that greater transparency from both sides would dramatically reduce the risk of miscalculation. When you don't know what the other side spacecraft is doing 400 kilometers above you, you fill in the gaps with your fears. And fears, historically, are not great foreign policy tools. The Outer Space Treaty of 1967 prohibits weapons of mass destruction in orbit, but it says nothing about conventional weapons, jamming devices, or a robotic spacecraft that gets very close to your satellite and just stays there. International space law is 50 years old and was written when the biggest space powers were two superpowers with rockets. The rule book has not kept pace with the technology. The Divine Dragon, a spacecraft born from mythology and Cold War anxiety, designed in secrecy, launched from a desert, tracked by hobbyists with telescopes, and discussed in classified briefing rooms on 2 continents. It is simultaneously a remarkable feat of engineering, a geopolitical chess piece, a technology demonstrator, and a Rorschach test. You see in it whatever your threat assessment tells you to see. Is it a weapons platform? Probably not yet. Is it a stepping stone to becoming one? That's the uncomfortable question nobody wants to answer out loud. Is it impressive? Absolutely, yes, it is impressive. A reusable spacecraft that can spend 9 months in orbit, deploy satellites, perform precision maneuvers, and land itself on a runway in the Gobi Desert. That is genuinely extraordinary engineering, regardless of the flag on the fuselage. The Divine Dragon is circling above us right now, and whether it brings storms or peace, that remains classified. If you made it this far, you just learned more about one of the most secretive spacecraft programs on Earth than most people in positions of power want you to know. Hit subscribe and like this video because I bring you the best of space every week.